The G20 has adopted a consensus on the Ukraine war in a breakthrough the Indian leader Narendra Modi had been hoping for. Anthony Albanese is describing it as the strongest condemnation of Russia so far. Political reporter Olivia Casey has more from New Delhi.
The G20 leaders have agreed to disagree on the war in Ukraine. There was some concern that Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping's absence would make consensus difficult, but a breakthrough was reached late last night.
The Group of 20 acknowledged the human suffering and economic impacts of the war. The language doesn't directly condemn Russia, but is much harder than what Moscow wanted, who didn't want any declaration at all. The New Delhi Declaration says, concerning the war in Ukraine, all states must refrain from the threat or use of force to seek territorial acquisition. We highlighted the human suffering and negative added impacts of the war. There were different views and assessments of the situation. Anthony Albanese called on the Russian president to take note.
I think it's an extraordinarily strong statement, and Russia has to have gotten the message that this is having a devastating impact and that the world wants this war to stop because of the impact on the people of Ukraine, but also because of the impact that it's having on global inflation.
Mr Albanese seized the diplomatic opportunity to raise the stalled EU trade deal, saying he wants an outcome by Christmas. It's something he took up with French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz and EU President Ursula von der Leyen.
I would like to see the Australia-EU free trade agreement settled as soon as possible. We'll sign up to an agreement that is in Australia's national interest.
The leaders also agreed to items on climate change, cryptocurrencies and reforms in multilateral development banks. Despite the summit's motto, One Earth, One Family, One Future, this year's G20 in New Delhi has been set amid a backdrop of increased tension in the region, something the UN is cautioning against.
If we are indeed one global family, we today resemble a rather dysfunctional one.
The usually bustling streets of New Delhi are completely deserted. Businesses shuttered and slums cleared for the sole purpose of the G20 summit. This monument behind me, the India Gate, is a memorial for fallen soldiers from World War I, a timely reminder of the cost of conflict at a time of global tensions.